Hello everybody and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. Today I am here to show you how to make this adorable Penguin Place card. Happy birthday. This is the feature card for my Stamp of the Month Club for December, which features the Penguin Place stamp. So to do this card, we're going to need a few supplies. We're going to need Pacific Point, polished pink, shaded spruce, and Mango Melody ink pads, as well as a black. I'm going to use my Memento. You'll also need a ruler, pencil, your adhesive, and some dimensionals. So let's get started. If you're a member of my club, then you already have your card kit all cut and ready for you. So get that out. You're going to start with a basic white thick cardstock base, which is 11 inches by 4 1/4. It's scored at 5 1/2. So you can go ahead and fold that, give it a good burnish on the edge, and you can just set that aside for now. It also includes a strip of polished pink designer series paper, which is 1 inch by 5 1/2. A small strip of polished pink, 1/2 inch, just for the greeting. A piece of shaded spruce, which is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. There's a strip 8 1/2 by 3 of basic white, and a 5 1/4 by 4. Now this piece here is going to be used for some stamping. So you can go ahead and set everything aside except for the 8 1/2 by 3 inch basic white. So first thing we're going to do is create this background scene where we've got the different hills, the trees, and the balloon string. So first things first, grab your ruler, and we're just going to make a couple of little lines along. My ruler's backwards here for what I want it to be. So I want to make my lines. Let's do it this way. Okay, so we're going to hold this along the bottom, and we're going to make a line at 3/4, just a little mark, 4 1/4, and 6 3/4. Now these are not anything specific really. It's just a kind of a guideline. So we've got those 3 lines made, marks, which is 3/4, 4 1/4, 6 3/4. Now we'll need our stamp image like this, which is going to create the hills, and we're going to use our black ink. And what we're going to do is we're going to stamp these 3 lines as seen here. But in order to create the layers, we're going to cut them apart, and we're going to add dimensionals in behind. So we're going to first create a mountain of snow that is upwards like that. So I just lined my line up here at the 3/4 inch mark I made. Then we're going to ink it up again, and we're going to create kind of a downhill slope here. So again, lining it up at my 4 1/4 line. I'm going to stamp that just like that. Okay, lastly, our last line at the top here, we're going to create, I'm just going to flip it over to create this different hill, and I want it to be kind of like this. Okay, create it however you want. No matter what, it's going to work out. So get your hills whichever way you want them to be. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these apart. So you can leave just a small little edge of white along the top. I find that to be a little bit more forgiving as opposed to cutting right on the black, but it's totally up to you. So we're just going to snip that off. So there's one. And we're going to cut this one here to be number 2. And then once more here, 3. And then your final one is just going to be all white with a flat top. And that's exactly what we're going to want. Okay. So we've got those pieces cut like so. Now the next thing you're going to need is your tree stamp, your shaded spruce ink, and the balloon string, which is here, which could also be a fishing pole or a flagpole. You could use this for so many different things, but for now we're going to use it as a balloon string. So just get that mounted onto a block, and we're of course going to need black ink for that. Okay, so all those things are ready. Pull out your shaded spruce cardstock. Again, it was 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. To start with, we're going to take that top piece with the flat edge, and we're going to place that on our card. Okay, you want to make sure it's nice and straight. where you want it, and then you can go ahead and adhere it down. So this is going to set the placement for our whole scenery here. So make sure that it is nice and straight. Okay, all right. So let's take our tree stamp and our shaded spruce ink. Then you're going to want to take your second piece that you've cut, and you're going to want to just kind of place it over top here. Now the idea behind this is that we are going to want to stamp the trees in behind this mountain of snow. So we're going to hold it kind of where we want it, move this down, stamp. Okay, now we know that that one is then going to be covered, the base, so then we're just going to move one down just a little bit lower, like so. Okay, now we can go ahead and attach this one using Stampin' Dimensionals. And to do that, I'm just going to put 3 of them right along the top, tight to the top edge. Just like so. Okay, so pull those off. Okay, again, make sure you're lined up really straight on either edge. Make sure your tree trunks are covered so they're not floating trees. Keep that nice and straight. Push those down. Okay, so there's layer 2. Now for the third layer, you can see this is going to go up like this. Okay, but what we want to make sure happens is we need to stamp our balloon string, and we need to stamp one more tree down here. So in order to do that, we're just going to place the last one down like so. Okay, so that looks good. It's not quite straight here. There we go. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. So the easy one to do is the tree. So let's go ahead, same as we did before, just hold that in place. Figure out where you want your tree and then scooch that out of the way. Okay, and now we've got our tree. We can confirm that that's going to work out. And of course, you can always manipulate this bottom a little bit. So for me, I've stamped it a little low, so it's going to look like it's more under the snow, behind the snow, but that's okay. That'll work just fine. So we've got the tree. Now we're going to take our balloon. This one gets a little more tricky, but it's nothing too bad. So what we want to do is we want to have our balloon string coming up on here, right? But if we put dimensionals and stuff behind it, it's not going to be easy to stamp. So set that aside for a minute. I think what will be easier is to stamp on our 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white. Let's go ahead and stamp our first penguin. So that's going to be this little guy here. I just need to grab a block. My blocks are being utilized. Okay. So we're going to use this penguin here. I didn't clean them very good for my last my last card. Okay, probably because I knew I was just going to stamp another black penguin. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my penguin upside down into the left-hand corner, and I'll show you why in just a sec. So I have the Penguin Builder punch. If you don't, you can stamp it any way you want and cut it out. But in order to utilize this punch efficiently, he's just going to slide right in perfectly like that. If I would have stamped him over here, this would have got cut out, and we don't need that piece, so it would have actually just been a waste. So I'm just going to line him up in here and punch that guy out. Now we'll finish stamping on him in just a second, but for now, all we really wanted him for at this point is placement. So our penguin would sit here. Okay, I want his hand kind of coming over the edge here, which means if you just grab your pencil again, you're going to want your string to come up about here, right? So it's in behind his hand. So just make a tiny little mark there and remove these pieces. Set that one aside. And we're going to come in with our balloon string. And we just want to have that over top of that line we created. Okay. Voila, just like that. Okay, so now we can just continue assembling our card. I'm going to close up. I'm done with the shaded spruce. Okay, so as you remember, we stamped, we adhered this with dimensionals. So in order to keep this one nice and flush, we need to also adhere this one with dimensionals at the bottom. So take out 3 more dimensionals, and along the very edge of the bottom of that layer, we can go ahead and stick those dimensionals down, making sure that you're keeping this really straight along the edge. Okay, you can go ahead and adhere that down. So this is okay. This is going to flap about a bit, but that's okay. We've got this part secured. Lastly, we want to take that bottom hill that we created, and we're going to attach that. Now I want that to be slightly higher, as you can see here. So we're going to double bump this one. So in order to do that simply, I'm going to just stick 2 dimensionals nice and tight down here. Okay, peel those backings off, and then I'm going to double them up by putting another dimensional directly on top. So I refer to this as a double bumped, and we're just going to make it that much higher. Okay, so we can go ahead now and we can stick this on, making sure again to keep it nice and straight on the edge. Okay, so there we go. Here's the start of our scene that we're creating. So now go ahead and pull in your card base and your designer series paper strip, and let's go ahead and attach that. So when you put it to the front of your card, you just want to leave a slight little border along the right-hand edge. Okay, just like that. And then we can go ahead and attach this one. And for this, I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue. And the reason I'm doing that for this piece is because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room if I don't get it placed in the exact spot right off the bat. So let's go ahead and attach that. I want to have an even border on the left, top, and bottom, and it's going to overlap my designer paper slightly as well. Okay, so there we have it. And then we're going to just set that off to the side over here. We're going to bring in our paper again and our previously cut out penguin. Okay, so with your Mango Melody, actually, before we do that, let's stamp our other penguin. So here we have our sliding penguin. And I'm just going to peel this guy off the block. Use that one there. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp this guy. So cute. All right, now in our stamp set, we have beaks. So these down here are their beaks. This is the side view and this is the front view. We're going to need to do both of those. So what I've done is I've just mounted one on either side of a small block here. So for this, we're going to use Mango Melody. And I've got the front beak here, so we're just going to stamp that like that. And then with our side view one, and it's really easy to line up because it is a photopolymer stamp. So you're just going to put that edge right up on the black line and stamp perfectly just like that. Okay, so then before we get rid of our Mango Melody ink pad for this class, we're going to use these little feet here. So here's his little feet. We're going to stamp them up with some ink. And then we're going to stamp it right at the very bottom. So it looks like he is sitting with his feet out in front of him. So cute. All right, so this little gift here, we're going to need that. And we're going to need this little bag. So go ahead, before we close up this ink pad, I'm going to stamp one of the gifts in Mango Melody. And now we're done with that. So I'm going to close it up. And then we're going to use our polished pink. This little guy is complete. And our Pacific Point. Okay. I'm going to clean my gift stamp here in between so I don't transfer the colors from one ink pad to the next. So with a nice clean stamp, I'm now going to stamp one in polished pink. I'm going to give it a clean. And then I'm going to stamp another one, Pacific Point. And then I'm going to take that adorable little bag, which is right here. And I'm just going to remove this. Actually, let's clip it clean first, make it easy. Pick that guy up and we'll stamp him in the Pacific Point as well. Such a nice bright color scheme for this card. I love it. All right, so we've got all of those stamped. Now the last thing we need is the balloon. So here's the balloon here. We're going to stamp that in pink. And I'm going to remove my tree because we're done with that. Okay. And we're going to stamp that. Voila! Okay, I think that is all the stamping we need. So I can go ahead and close my ink pads up. Now we're going to fussy cut these little images out. However, if anybody happens to have this old retired punch in their collection, this balloon here matches perfectly with this. Oop, oh, I did it backwards. Okay, so if that happens, we're just gonna trim this because all our images are up there anyway. So if you happen to have this balloon punch, look at this. It just matches perfectly into the smaller image right here. Okay, and if not, then you can absolutely just go ahead and fussy cut that balloon out. Okay, so we've got a balloon, and now we'll just quickly cut out each of these gifts. I'm gonna, again, like I said before, leave a slightly white border around the edges. A little bit more forgiveness as far as accuracy goes. So let's just cut the blue one, and they're really simple to cut out. Cut out this one. And, you know, it would be so fun to make this into a Christmas card even by changing up some of the colors. You could use red and green and make some Christmas gifts, and you could have the season's greetings instead of happy birthday, which would be really fun. I really like that the stamp set is so versatile that you could use it all year round. And the penguins are just absolutely adorable. Okay, so as soon as I saw that the Penguin Punch, it's been ever so popular, was back in stock, I just knew we had to do this for Stamp of the Month. Okay, so somewhere on the back, oh, here it is. We have this little gift bag to cut out. Okay, so just go around. Cut that out. Okay, and then lastly, we just got to cut out our sliding penguin here. And he's very easy to cut out as well, so there's no problem there. We're just going to leave that slight white border. Remembering to turn your paper as opposed to turning your scissors makes it, well, for me anyway, everyone's different, but for me that makes it much easier to fussy cut. So let's just do that. It's just so cute. Okay, so when he's done, there we go. Got a little bit of a point there. I don't like that. There we go. Okay, I think, there we go. Get rid of all that stuff. Okay, so now, oh, one more thing we have to stamp. So we've got our little polished pink 1/2 inch strip. We're going to stamp happy birthday on that. So here's my happy birthday. I'll remove my little bag, and we're going to use some black ink. we'll go ahead and stamp happy birthday on towards the right hand side. Okay, now we have all these pieces to assemble our card. So let's get them all over here, bring our card back in, and we'll start by attaching our cute little penguin. So he's going to get slid right underneath the hill like that. So it looks like his hand is holding on to that balloon string we stamped. So go ahead and put a little bit of liquid glue. Again, the reason I'm using the liquid glue is because it gives me a little bit of forgiveness to wiggle it around if I need to. So there he goes, just like that. So cute. Okay, so let's take that balloon and add a couple of dimensionals onto the back, like so. And we're going to then just peel them off and line that up with the balloon string and stick it down. Now for this one, you may want to, it looks like I have to there too, and I should have thought of that. You may need to double bump the top just so that it touches the back paper, just because of the way we've layered it. So perfectly, just like that. Okay, let's take him and we're going to add a dimensional behind his head, like so. That is just going to slide in, making sure his body is kind of tucked under this hill here, just like that. Love it. Okay, finally, let's attach these gifts. So for that, what I've done is I started with my gift bag, just a little bit of white glue, and we're going to tuck that in right beside his hand underneath the snow mountain here. We'll attach the pink gift next. We don't need very much glue at all. If you want, you can kind of lift this guy. It won't be dry quite yet. Just sort of give them a layered effect. We'll put the yellow one under here. Oop. Probably more glue than I needed on that one, but that's okay. We'll put this under like so. And then this blue one can go like that. How cute is that? So let's go ahead and flag the end of our happy birthday banner. Okay. Lovely. And then that's going to go right across the bottom, just like so. You can, oh, looks like I've already stamped this one. Okay, go ahead and attach that there, just like so. Perfect. All right, so now all we have left to do on this card is to add some bling. And as a bonus this month, everybody in my Stamp of the Month Club got a full package of the rhinestone basic jewels, so you can pull those guys out. I'm going to use my Take a Pick tool, and I'm just going to attach some of these bling. Now, I noticed that my balloon covers most of that tree, so I could have brought it down a bit, but it's all good. Put that one there. Use different size of bling, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to add one right here. And there we have it. There is our super adorable penguin card with all those cute little mountains that we created just using dimensionals and cutting our paper apart. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this card. If you'd like more information on my Stamp of the Month Club, you can find it on my website, createwithbirdsnest.ca. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you real soon. Cheers.